Guys, today we just had an absolute masterclass in better understanding how to leverage social media content for searchability, shareability, savability to make sure that it's really hitting the way it's supposed to in a world full of so much noise with technology and social media. Joe, what did you think of Chelsea Peitz's session?
Well, I love Chelsea. She's awesome. I think so much content is crap, and I think for her she had a quality over quantity, and just making sure that as we create content, we understand the end goal and what we're trying to do with it. I thought she did it. It was a master class on giving agents confidence to be able to create some content that hopefully leads to growth in business and conversation. And she got very granular. She got very 101. She shared some 501 stuff. Like it was all over the board. So I think anybody, whether they've created content or not, can learn something from Chelsea this week.
Absolutely. Jump into this session, you guys. You're going to want a notebook and pen, or be on your laptop so that you can take fast notes and probably listen to the recording a couple of times. It's a good one. It's a tactical one, and you won't regret this listen. Well, welcome back to RocketFuel, you guys. We're so happy to have everybody here. Let's kick it off with what's happening in our industry right now. Joe, I'll throw it over to you, and then I'm going to introduce our guest speaker today.
Yeah, for sure. Really two main things. So last week, both the Bank of Canada and the Fed met. They both did quarter point rate reductions. Now, in the States, that doesn't immediately translate into lower mortgage interest rates. The theory is that over time, we're going to see a softening of interest rates, which right now we're at I think 11-month low on the interest rate. Like it's the lowest it's been in 2025. 100%. AIM in Canada, though, those rates are more directly tied to the mortgage interest rate, or no?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the Bank of Canada does a rate drop, it immediately affects those interest rates. So good news for the market. Raquel, in addition to that, we're seeing month over month inventory growth, which in a high rate environment is scary. But as interest rates are coming down and inventory is going up, we've talked about this now 3 weeks in a row. It's huge. What are your clients saying about lower interest rates and higher inventory?
Well, they definitely have more options as a buyer today, right? And so I think that's why we talked about last week of how people are positioning their listings today, even with the interest rates going down, right? There's just more supply out there in the market today.
Now, anybody that knows me knows I hate the 1 and 2 game in Zoom call meetings, but I would love to see guys pop a 1 in the chat. It is my nemesis. Pop a 1 in the chat if you're seeing positive conversations from buyers and sellers around lower interest rates, and pop a 2 in the chat if you've seen no change. I'm just curious if people are like, yeah, my people are starting to talk and it's getting positive. Couple of no changes. We're at about 50-50 right now. A lot of no changes. Okay. So I think the key is to be the change. Like if no one else is talking about the positive things that are happening, it creates a massive opportunity. Raquel, you're kind of like the queen of content and conversation, and at least in my opinion. And so like what should people be doing with this positive information?
Well, I think it's just always communicating with clients that like never goes away. And being the leader in those conversations, because at the end of the day, I think more and more people are turning to ChatGPT, our clients and our consumers are. So getting ahead of that as real estate agents and being in the know always helps the transaction and the relationship.
For sure. Okay, piece number. Oh, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, no, go. Sorry, I totally.
No, I was going to shift gears. So go ahead if you have a thought on this.
Oh no, I was gonna shift gears. So do you have anything else you want to dive into first?
Yeah, I just want to talk about big news that came out.
I don't know if like it blew up your feed, but I definitely got a ton of text messages around it.
100%. So if you guys haven't heard, Compass acquired Anywhere, which gives them eventually, it's like mid 2026, but it's like Century 21 and Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's will all be under this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll all be under this Compass umbrella, which obviously has its positives and negatives. Like if you're a Century 21 agent waking up today, you're like, what the crap? There's going to be, I believe, still brand ambiguity. Like everyone's still going to be their own brand. They're all part of this bigger umbrella. But it gets even more interesting in relation to it's going to be just shy of 350,000 under that big Compass umbrella, 350,000 agents in North America, maybe internationally, actually. So 350,000 total agents internationally. And there's positives and negatives, right? Like obviously some of the economics are probably going to change. They're going to get tech suite. Compass is really big with their tech suite. Raquel, what have been your thoughts? And obviously it's new to us, but what are you thinking waking up this morning and seeing that news?
Well, I think mergers are always going to happen in our industry, right? We're going to see more and more of that, of people acquiring, whether it's mortgage companies or combining forces to go global, like what Compass did. Now they have reached global, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like, I agree with you. There's positives and negatives to every merger. I mean, some people will love it, some people will hate it. You got to work out operations, staff, all the things, because it's multiple companies, not just one company. Anywhere is multiple brands, all different looks and feels, and now I think even they've got a bigger reach within luxury, and some of their brands aren't luxury. So there's all of that going on.
Well, and it gets interesting too when you factor in the Zillow argument and the MLS independence and all. It's a big thing. So it's going to be interesting to see the way it shakes out. So guys, just keep your ear to the ground when it comes to that. Obviously, your clients won't give a crap, so it makes no difference to your buyers and sellers. But this is just inter-industry news. So AIM, cool stuff happened last week. Great stuff happened today. So as always, we just like to start out with a little news and notes in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And just goes to show that there is always movement happening. So keep your ear to the ground, keep your relationships with other agents open too. If you're depending on what brand or brokerage you're a part of, and just making sure that your colleagues feel supported and heard. And yeah, I think that it just goes to show that there's always conversations happening behind the scenes to ensure that whether it's at the brand or brokerage level or at the agent level, that people are feeling supported and that they're in the right model for their growth and what they're working to achieve in their business. So okay, guys, that being said, I'm going to get started. We've had a couple of amazing weeks already into the fall with RocketFuel. We're having record-breaking attendance. We're having watch parties happening across the US, which is really cool. We got to get some of those going in Canada too. But you guys, I'm really pumped for today. We're gonna shift towards having a keynote speaker today, a little bit different than what we've had over the last few weeks, but I'm so excited for this conversation. The thing I love about our speaker today the most is that she is genuinely one of the most authentic social media coaches and just genuine humans of our entire industry. Chelsea Peitz is the real deal, you guys. And her qualifications, they speak for themselves. She is a keynote speaker. She is a coach. She is a podcast coach. She's the author of the best-selling book, What to Post for Realtors. And if you don't have that book and you're struggling even a little bit with social media, it is the number one thing you should be doing the second you hang up from this Zoom call is get on Amazon. We'll even drop the link into the chat so that you can grab it right away. You guys are probably feeling a lot like me, and I talked about this in my video last week. You're posting consistently, or you're trying to, but your views are going down, engagement feels like it's less, and you feel like you're doing all the right things, but maybe your content is just not hitting. Well, today Chelsea is going to take us behind the curtain, you guys, of how AI is actually changing the game on the social media front and how we can get ahead of it before we fall too far behind. So I promise, as always, RocketFuel will be tactical. Chelsea will be tactical. Today will be relevant. And these are the things that Chelsea is known for. She is known for the tactical. She's known for relevancy. She's known for giving you guys takeaways that you can put into your business in action right away. So without further ado, I'm going to give it over to our keynote speaker today, Chelsea Peitz.
Thank you. That was such a great introduction. I'm so kind. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you for the book plug. I really appreciate that. What you guys don't know, because this isn't public knowledge yet, is that I signed a book deal. So I have an even better, more exciting book coming out in the beginning of 2026. So y'all are the first ones to hear it. It's called Uncopy Pastable, and it is going to be about everything we're talking about. It's even going to be better than the last one. So you're welcome to buy the last one, but if it were me, I would get the new one. Just coming
That's
out.
amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a lot of work, but I'm excited to do it. So I'm in the editing phase. I've got my manuscript. I'm taking a break today because it's getting to be a lot. But I did want to talk about not only content, I really want to talk about like the number one question that everybody has on their mind is like, how do I get found in ChatGPT? Like, I keep hearing people saying they're getting leads from it. Like, what am I doing? Like, we're going to talk about the bigger picture of content in general and how it relates to how our human behavior is when it comes to not only searching for content on social media, but searching online. So that's what we're really going to be talking about today. And I'm also going to give you some examples as well. And then hopefully we'll have a little bit of Q&A, some time for Q&A at the end. So the first thing that I want to share with you is a personal story that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I think you're going to see yourself in the story, which is why I'm starting with it. I spent a ton of time doing a bunch of research. I went down a rabbit hole. I saw a video on TikTok. This is how it always starts, right? You see something somewhere, you listen to a podcast, you go down a rabbit hole, you start doing your research. And this is what I was doing with a specific like dentist procedure that I was looking for, like a specialty thing. And I said, I'm just going to go to ChatGPT. Might as well just check it out. So I went into chat. I gave it like all this information. I said, I need to find somebody that does this, this, and this, who doesn't do any of this, like very like specific stuff, right? I was like very informed already. And that's what's happening with people. We're going in there and having a complete dialogue with chat. I'm asking a whole lot of original questions that nobody has ever typed into Google. And what happened is it gave me like 3 or 4 different options. And of course I wanted somebody near me. And I clicked on one in the middle and I was like, check, check, check. This actually is exactly what I'm looking for. And guess what? I called literally the next day and booked. I've already spent $6,000 with this dentist in 1 week. So that was like a great customer, right? And I've already referred multiple people. So that's basically what's happening is it's not that we're totally moving away from search engine optimization and Google, but I want to talk about like the mentality of how we use it and why this is important for your content in general, okay? And by the way, before you are like thinking, oh no, she's going to tell me to do this entire thing where I have to get on like Reddit and make a blog again and do a podcast and like get on all of these different places and start a YouTube channel and LinkedIn, etc. Listen, the foundation of what I'm going to tell you, searchable content has not changed. I don't care if you're going to the library to search for this kind of content or you're going to ChatGPT, the foundations of it will always be the same. So yay, that's good news for you. All right, so the first thing is I'm going to share my screen and we are going to dive right into some stats. I'm not a big stat giver. However, I thought these were pretty interesting. So really great website is SEMrush. I don't know if you guys are like data nerds like I am, but highly recommend it. They are absolutely bringing all of these research studies about AI and ChatGPT. And I'm not surprised by this, but what did surprise me was, oh yeah, October's next week. So basically we're already in 2026. So they're basically saying that, hey, in 2 years, maybe it'll be less, we expect people to start searching with AI pretty much most of the time, which if you look at the stats now, I think it's like 10% of the population is using it, which is a wildly large number, but Google still is way ahead of the AIs, but we should be seeing that change. Average Google search is only 4.2 words. We're typing in a couple keywords. The average AI search is 23 or more. Now, why do you even care about this? Why I care about this is because when you're creating content, especially like in your video content, if you're making blogs, guess what? You search like you're talking to a human. You go to chat, you have a conversation, you're not putting in keywords. And so that means for your content, when you are answering questions about things that people would type into Google or search or an AI, they're going to be searching very specifically. Like when I went and looked for that dentist, I wasn't like, give me a dentist in Scottsdale, Arizona. I had a lot of specifics that I was putting in there. And so that's really important to know because I think we've moved away and thought, oh, I don't want to get too niche I don't want to get too specific, right? I don't want to like make one video about one little thing or one little neighborhood. I'm going to make a video about general stuff. Yeah, that's still absolutely going to work. And how do you search chat? You get real specific. So specificity is going to be even more important because we want somebody that is going to give us, like, if I'm looking for running shoes, I want somebody who's never run a marathon. It's their first marathon. I want somebody that's my age. I want somebody with ACL issues, whatever, right? So I'm going very specific. 70% of the AI searches are totally original. What does that mean? We're typing in so many random specific things that it's not like we're keyword searching. Nobody's ever typed in a lot of the questions that we've typed in. So it's kind of this like blue ocean strategy of like, there's so much that it's learning and it's evolving at the same time. These are really important though. Look at these. The average GPT visitor is worth 4.4 times the average traditional search. Now, my opinion on why me, as the person who searched on chat versus Google, and usually we go to chat and then maybe we go to their website, right? The dentist, yeah, made a good amount of money immediately from me, right? I was ready to go. I had researched. In fact, when I got there, I was pretty annoying because this super nice guy was trying to educate me on this process and procedure. And I was like, already know it does da 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 da. And he was like, wow, you really know your stuff. I'm like, oh, I am informed. I have already gone down the rabbit hole, right? Traffic from AI sources, meaning traffic from chat or another like Perplexity, Claude, whatever you're using. I keep saying chat, but whatever you're using, converts more. And I'm sure this number is going to go up. And here's what I think the reason is. I think we think of chat more like a person. Obviously, we know it's not. But we sort of have a relationship, if you will, with this, right? So I'm more comfortable there. I feel like I have a dialogue. I'm more likely to click on someone's name or website from chat than from a Google search. So that's what you should know. Also, what I love is sites like ChatGPT and I believe Perplexity too, they're not just showing the top sites. Yay, that means we have an opportunity to get our content shown, right? It's looking for the most relevant and the most complete. Again, specific. If I'm looking for running shoes, I want to look for somebody who is probably my age. What stage of running are they in? That sort of thing. So that's really, really good. It's not mapping like one-to-one to Google search. This is a really cool site, you guys, visualcapitalist.com. This has the best visuals for literally anything you're looking for, and they have a ton of them for ChatGPT. I would highly recommend that if you're making green screen videos, you might want to pop in here and use some of their stuff sometimes because it's really cool. Basically, this is showing really a quick snapshot of just 1 month. This is June of this year. And this is saying like, where does AI get its information? At this time, it's still evolving. It's a little confusing. Amy, I saw that you unmuted. Did you want to say something or?
No, just
okay.
Just in case you need it. I'm here. Just in my
Okay, great. So at the top is Reddit. Okay, now does this mean you need to go out and get a Reddit account and start commenting on stuff that's real estate related? You can if you want to, right? I go to Reddit whenever I'm looking for something I can't find easily on Google. Now that I use chat more often, I'm usually just going to chat, but still when I have that really hard question that I'm not satisfied with, I go to Reddit because somebody in there probably has answered it. What are people looking for in Reddit? Recommendations by real human beings. And Reddit keeps their community like solid. Like they make sure that it's a real person, they're not spamming, they get those spammers out of there, so it's well trusted. People are asking questions. The note here is asking and answering questions, a lot of them. And that's what a lot of our content needs to do to get found in any search on any platform. Wikipedia, okay, we're probably not getting in Wikipedia, right? So maybe you will, but probably not. YouTube, so all of my YouTubers, yay, it's an open API. They're pulling from YouTube. You know that YouTube is owned by Google. So those are pulling from YouTube and Google. Yelp, okay, Facebook, Instagram, these ones, I have a question mark next to, okay? Because here's why. You see TikTok is not on here yet. My question is, how are they pulling from Facebook and Instagram? Are those like second parties, like somebody shared it or embedded it into a blog? Because right now,
that's nice to meet you.
The API into social media networks, it's not open yet. So what I'm telling you is that your social media content probably isn't getting pulled into ChatGPT yet. YouTube for sure is, LinkedIn is, okay? But your Instagram reel may not be getting pulled into it. That's okay. You still need to be there because all of your stuff you're making on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else is actually showing up on Google search now. So if you didn't know that, you should Google yourself. You will see all of your content that's public, not private. So I just wanted to show you this because this gives you some information as to where they're pulling. Remember, this is evolving. We don't know where it's going. The foundation is not going to change. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Google because this is an important thing that's going to lead into my examples.
Can I ask one thing, Chelsea?
Yeah.
Just because you said
Go
it's
for it.
kind of like related, unrelated to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You mentioned green screens.
Mm-hmm.
Are they still hitting like they used to?
I don't think anything is hitting like it's used to, and things are always hitting like it's used to, right? Like it's just, we don't have any idea what's going on behind the scenes. I just got contacted by Instagram to have a meeting with them. And so my question is going to be like, have things changed in the background and we don't know? Because like, how do we know if views used to be half a millisecond and now they're 2 seconds and we don't know that, so things have changed? Like things are up, things are down, everything works some of the time, right? I don't know who said that, but that's not my quote. Everything works some of the time. I think green screens gives you immediate credibility because you're not like saying, I'm the one saying this. I'm actually showing you something like an article. It also is that extra visual element, right? To help people come in and watch and stay watching. I'm all for graphics, all for green screen. And I think you'll see in the examples that I give too, there'll be some of these, but yeah, I think everything's hitting some of the time. Okay. Let me give you these things. Anybody here who's an SEO nerd, you're probably familiar with Google's EEAT, right? And they're really like on saying, hey, these are not guaranteed ranking signals. Like these are just ideas. If you maybe follow these things, so I don't know why they're saying that so specifically, but I don't really care about the bottom 3. Yeah, those are important. I care about the first one. So this experience was added in 2022, not that long ago. Why is this important for you to know? Because guess what? AI knows it's AI. It's not human. What are they looking for? They know that humans are using it and they want to see content from humans. I would rather watch and probably buy something, going back to the running example, from somebody who is a person who's saying, hey, I just ran my first 3 marathons and I tried these 2 shoes and here's what I experienced. We are looking and trust more human experience. So my point is, the people who make content that are specific, answer questions that you're getting asked, and a lot, like all the follow-up questions, and also are giving their personal experience, right? The layer of humanity, that's actually what is going to get found in AI and Google because it knows humans, who are the users, are more likely to trust that. So kind of gone are the days of like, let me just give 3 tips and never give any like insight or analysis. I mean, that's still going to be a viable piece of content. And if you can layer on your experience, you're more likely to even get found in a variety of the searches. Okay. I recently made a post about this, so if you want to go and look at it, it's on the most recent post I've made under the pinned one. So if you want a deeper dive on this or you want to get the notes as to what I'm saying, it's all there. First thing about searchable content, yay, be unmistakably human. How ironic, right? When we're talking about AI, you need to be in the content. I think most of the people here probably already realize that, but the only way to make original content is the personality perspective. That means you need to be in the majority, maybe not all, but the majority of your content. You are the niche, you are the brand. And what's interesting is that as humans using AI, we want to see other humans. Number 2, getting focused and firsthand. Now, I know the niche conversation freaks people out. I look at niches very differently than just demographics. In my world, a niche is the emotional world your client is in, really identifying like, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? So it is important for you to get focused on niche or niches because why? People are searching specifically. So your niche might be, you've got 5 different neighborhoods you work in. Great. Maybe you do have 5 different types of clients. Yeah, you need to be making content for those and answering those questions because we are going to be typing in our 32 word question into chat, right? Also firsthand, that's where the experience comes in. right? Start telling stories about, I had a client who, when I did this, this happened. It doesn't have to be in everything, but AI and search are looking for those firsthand experiences, and so are your clients. My favorite one, make it viable, not viral. Boring content is searchable. What do you search on YouTube? What do you search on ChatGPT? I searched for the best baseboard colors for your home for 2025. It's like, that was so boring. And I watched a 20-minute video on 1.5 speed and ended up buying my paint. And now I'm talking about it, right? So we love boring content when it comes to search. You've got to remember that it's not going to probably get a ton of views, and that's fine, because you are creating content for the person who's going to find you next year. They're going to be in chat, they're going to be in Claude, they're going to be in Google, and we want them to come across that piece of content, right? Joe, feel free.
Yeah, just curious, Chelsea, like what, like I've got, it turns out my sponsor at Real is a shock jock to some degree. His name's Colton Lindsay. And like everything he does is just hyper opinionated in all of these things, being unmistakably human, getting focused in firsthand, making it viable, not viral. I mean, are we searching to be respectfully opinionated? Like, does, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because there's a temptation to just be everything to everybody, but is it like, hey
yeah.
guys, here's my opinion on this thing for right or for wrong?
Yeah. So I call that, like, the fear of being an expert and having a perspective. Having a perspective is very vulnerable, because sharing that perspective online is even more vulnerable. Because if you have a perspective, even if it's kind, thoughtful, well-positioned, somebody could absolutely disagree with you, right? And they might tell you in the comments. For example, I might say, I like pineapple on pizza, and people are like, oh my gosh, that's so gross, right?
Especially on TikTok.
Or
People on
that,
TikTok
oh,
are
yes.
ruthless.
Yes, or that I like candy corn. Okay, I do. Sorry. I know people are just like grossed out right now, right? So, when I talk about sharing your perspective, which is so critical, it's the only way to make original content. You can share your perspective by saying, here is my personal story, right? I'm still teaching through it. Now, it's really person by person. If you live your life sharing your opinion in a specific way, then you probably will live your life doing it on social media. There is no right or wrong. Do I know people that thrive on actually getting the comments where people are fired up? And yeah, absolutely. That's not my personal brand, and that's okay. You have to know what feels good for you. But there is a spectrum. You can share your perspective in any variety or any point on that spectrum. So that is not like one pillar point that people should do. It's an option on the spectrum that people can do. But either way, perspective is your lived experience. Like what you've gone through, what your clients have gone through, lessons learned, mistakes made, hot mess dumpster fires that you're like, wow, we're not going to repeat that again. Things I wish I knew 10 years ago, right? What I've learned. Everybody has perspective. There's a variety of different ways to share it. So hopefully that was enough of an answer for
No,
for
it totally makes sense. I think there's, it's just how vulnerable should you be? How opinionated should you be? Like we're in a highly volatile environment right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yep.
And so it's some people like Colton are like capitalizing on it. He'll get 100 comments and 50 of them are, I hate your guts. And 50 of them are, you're the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And Amy and I have talked about it. That's just not me. I am an opinionated person, but I'm just not one to like toss out there my concrete opinion. So it's like navigating those waters can be tough, but I guess you're saying like, there's power in soliciting others' opinions as well, right? Like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Here's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, kind of pop in the comments your thoughts and feelings and whatever.
Yeah, and you don't always have to share your perspective or opinion on everything. I mean, it's really up to the person. And some people are baby stepping their way in because the experience of social media and content creation in general is extremely vulnerable, right? Because you are creating something, whether it has a perspective in it or not, that you are sharing with the world this creation and allowing people to give their opinion, right? So there's levels on that spectrum of like where you want to be. And if you're not comfortable yet in sharing a perspective, that doesn't mean you won't be comfortable in a year from now. So all of that can change. We are all human beings. You can change your perspective. You can be wrong about something, and then that's all human, right? So we were just talking about perspective, so I'll skip that one. And then 5 and 6, go deep to be discoverable. This kind of goes along with that, making it viable, not viral. I love a deep guide on something. Like if I'm really looking for something, I want like somebody who's really, really gone through it. That's why I'm spending so much time on my book, because I'm like, I think I need more here. I think I need more here, right? So that kind of stuff isn't going to go viral usually, right? And I know it's really discouraging when you're putting out content and you're like, this is really good. Like I am giving really good information. I spent my time researching, and it feels like that one doesn't get nearly the engagement or reach that your cute dog on the couch gets when you post it, right? And it's not supposed to. That's not what it's for. It is for building your expertise and searchability and shareability, right? So, and then layering new on top of lasting, just update old stuff, right? We all know we're at the end of the year. Guess what's going to be coming out? Predictions for 2026, my end of the year wrap up, right? YouTube is this way too, where they like to see something that is freshened up, right? So maybe go back to some of your content you did a year or two ago. You're a different person. You have a different perspective. It's a different market. There's going to be things that you can update as well, because that's what search and your people are looking for. By the way, if you guys want more information on that, this is the post that I'm talking about, where I went really, really deep dive into those 6 points. We don't have time for it today, but if you're interested, you can go find it on my Instagram profile. Now I want to give you guys some examples, because I'm like a visual learner. I'm like, this is cool and all, but like, tell me what to post. So here you go. Searchable, trust building content categories. I've been using these for a number of years. By the way, I want to be really clear. These are not the only content categories. I'm a big believer in 3 pillars. Human content, like personal content, which creates engagement and relatability. Expertise content, which is what we're focusing on here, which is more for search and share and trust. And then of course, sales content. We need to tell people what we do and remind them often. So a lot of us get stuck in one. Usually it's in this one. So I just want to be very clear that this is not the only kind of content I'm recommending, but since we're talking about search, we're talking about AI, these are the kinds of content that people are going to probably search for, because they're asking a lot of questions and looking at topics, and search is looking for experts. So the first one is becoming a resource. That's going to be breaking news. That's the green screens. That's the articles. I even actually just saw when Joe was talking about the big news I hadn't heard about. I opened up my Instagram feed because I was posting a picture of us from the Zoom, and the first thing I saw was a green screen with an article and like somebody talking about it. I'm like, oh, that's ironic. Insider tips, lived experience, and thought leadership. Yes, I'm going to show you examples of all of these. So you can take pictures as you go, or if you want, I think there might actually be like a picture of everything at the end. So this is becoming a resource. You guys, this is the easiest one. This is the one that I like because y'all don't have to make it. You don't have to make the news article that you took a screenshot of. You just have to read it and interpret it. Now, the important thing about reading and interpreting, you can be the news anchor, which is totally fine. That's still like a searchable piece of content. That's still a shareable piece of content. Here's everything you need to know in 3 easy bullet points. But you can see I've highlighted unique insight interpretation, right? That's what experiences that Google's looking for. It's looking for that firsthand, like, hey, and here's my thoughts. Now, to Joe's point, it can be, here's my thoughts, what do you think? Or it can be something on the spectrum, right? So what I do a lot is interpret, right? I say, here's what this means to me. Here's what this means to your content. That's what I'm giving you guys right now. Here's what AI is looking for, and here's what it means to your content, right? So you can be the news reporter, or you can be the news reporter that also has the perspective. And usually we connect and follow people that have the perspective with it. It could be your curated list of favorites, top resources, etc. So let's take a look at some of these examples. Taya, she's not even writing this article. It's a Zillow and Bigger Pockets article. She's doing a video about it. It's a digestible summary. And then at the bottom, she has her 2 cents. This is what I mean by breaking news, but also let me give you my interpretation. I'm sharing my thoughts, right? And by the way, you do not have to make a video. I think I picked mostly videos, but it was just easier for me to find. My friend Neil, again, green screen, right? Taking a picture of the little headline. And a lot of people share this because it's easy. Somebody's already done it. And you can actually just include that green screen article and talk about it and to it and share your opinions. One of my local realtors here is talking about a dog park going in, right? This is breaking news for me local, right? It may not be like national news, but people are very interested in what's going in where that old building went that they just tore down and yada, 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 right? 74 shares, okay? That's a lot. 74 shares about a dog park? That's a lot. So this is highly shareable content as well. Another one, 5 top restaurants in Arizona. Y'all, 1571 shares. Like, that's silly. Like, that's so many shares, right? So this is highly searchable and shareable because these are the kind of things that people are looking for and sharing, okay? So these do happen to be videos. You don't necessarily have to do them in that way. So this is examples of becoming the resource. Take a picture of this if you guys want an AI prompt, okay? This is what you might use. It's just basically like, get descriptive of what you're in. I want help with specific content ideas that follow under thought leadership, becoming the resource. Use those categories, swap it out, right? Go through all 4 categories and ask it for some help, right? Because I'm giving you examples here, but we can use AI to do the heavy lifting. I'm giving you the idea, go to chat and put it in there, right? Tell them where you are, what area, what kind of market, all of that. So that's just a really quick way to use AI. So I just actually have a little video of me doing this. You can see that the first one I put in here, become the resource, it just spit out exactly what I was looking for. It has become the resource, insider tips. So it gives you something to start with, right? And then you can follow up and go through this as much as you want. But take the 4 things that I gave you that I'm going through right now, pop them into chat. All right, second one, insider tips, okay? These are your cheat codes, your trade secrets. If you've been in the industry for a long time, you've got them. These are your frequently asked questions, right? The frequently asked questions that people have that if you're like, if somebody asks me this question one more time, I'm going to scream. Y'all, if somebody asks you a question more than once, you should make a piece of content about it. Even if somebody asks you once, highly recommend that you have something about it, because if somebody asks that question, somebody else has that question, and they'll probably go to chat at some point and ask that question, right? Or a variation of it. It could be also simplifying stuff, right? A checklist, a formula, a template. Those are all really helpful things. Here's some examples. I'm giving you non-real estate because I think that's also helpful. Business and trademark attorney. Okay, I know we think our content's kind of boring, but like business and trademark attorneys, like they have pretty boring content, but I love her account because she's in it. She's using trends. She's also using different formats. For example, she's not even talking in this one. This is just a B-roll. This is a question that she's probably so sick and tired of getting. Privacy policy. Do I need one on my website? And she's like, yes, it's illegal not to have one, right? That is a question, a commonly asked question, and she's making a piece of content about it that actually is really creative and funny. This one is the step-by-step guide to drafting your legal contract with ChatGPT, because people ask, hey, can I just use ChatGPT to make my legal documents? No. Actually, she's really funny. She's like, here's my best tip, don't do it. So just to give you a few examples on that. Let's go to this one. Again, outside of industry, this is actually an ergonomic dentistry coach. Never heard of it before. Wild, right? Talk about niche. In it, she's talking about this trade secret about how she uses the suction device. You guys, like, look at the shares, 7,000 for like shares. Wild. Like, this is something that of course that only niche would be looking for, but they're like, wow, that's really helpful. I will use that, right? This is my uncommon solution, okay? These are content rules I break. But here's the thing, I don't just say I break the rules, I'm gonna tell you why, right? Because that's a really big important part of your perspective, is saying, and here's why. So this would be an example of the uncommon solution. And the last one I had in insider tips was coming up with a framework. This is my framework for share-worthy content. Yeah, it spells out share. You guys can make your own framework. Maybe it's home, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but just make an acronym. You already have something you're doing in an order, in a step-by-step order, in a framework. You just haven't named it. Go to ChatGPT and ask it to help you, okay? The last 2 categories, lived experience, okay? How you did something, why you did it, what you learned. Step-by-step process. Show it. Like, turn your camera around and say, look, this is how I'm going to type in looking for this. Like, show that, right? Experiments, results that you got from those experiments. I experiment all the time, and I'm like, hey, I scrolled through Instagram, and you know what I found? What I wish I knew back then. Unexpected life lessons, right? Remember when, nostalgia posts, how it started versus how it's going, permission slips, truth bombs, wake-up calls, right? That's what I'm talking about, the POV, the perspective. This is it. This is it right here. Okay. My friend Shannon, she's got a whiteboard behind her. She's just showing like her whole strategy, right? Just drawing it out. And look how many shares and like how many, comments it got. And I'm not ignoring you, Joe, I see you, but I know also want to keep us on time, so just give me 1 second to go through a few of these. This one is somebody who's a designer, and she's just sharing lessons that she learned. This is the story of how I managed to overcome. So talking about those things, just using the reels and saying, here's what I wish. This one's a great one. I love the you think it's X, but it's actually Y. That's TED Talk formula, by the way. If you didn't know that, all the people that get up on TED Talks, they're told to put it in this formula. Okay, we want you to get the audience to start perspective shifting. So what we're going to do is you're going to say, you think it's this, but it's actually this. That's a great way to make a reel, right? Again, no production value. She's just talking. I don't know, maybe it's a living room, a bedroom. It doesn't have to be fancy, right? And then the last one in this one, if you guys follow this particular lawyer, asset protection and estate planning, you talk about boring content topics, right? This person does a lot of skits between like her, she likes to do characters, 196,000 shares. Wild. On a topic that if I wrote it down on a piece of paper, you'd be like, this is so boring, right? Because you're explaining something that is hard to understand in easy, plain English that people are searching for about what to do with their parents, right? Okay, Joe, go for it.
So Chelsea, what would you say to the agent who is afraid to sound stupid? They're afraid to look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to get criticized. They don't like the way they sound. They don't like the way they look. Like, obviously, a portion of agents on this call are going to go like, okay, I'm going to try this. And a portion are going to go like, I could never do that. How do you encourage people to take the leap?
Yeah, so I'm definitely not one of those people that just says you just gotta, sweat through it and keep trying it, right? Especially when it comes to video, nor do I do that with perspective sharing. I'm a big baby stepper. I think there's different ways that you can work yourself into it. In fact, that's essentially what my entire new book is about. The vulnerability of how do we become the personal brand and share it, and how do we show up online as the same person we are offline, and the vulnerabilities that come along with it, right? So maybe I should come back and do an entire class on that. But yeah, it's normal, number one. It's very rare that people, one, love to be on camera and love to share their opinions and wait with refreshing for people's feedback. Usually that does not happen. You don't have to start by making a public video or reel. You can create things inside of an Instagram story. You can be this person that's sharing or commenting. You can be supporting others. So yeah, do I think that there's different ways for people to go from A to Z? Absolutely. I would never have somebody who's never done a video before or feels a lot of fear around that and has limiting beliefs. We would never go live right away. We would never make a reel like this where we're talking to camera. I would have them go through a series of steps to even get to like voiceover, right? Maybe they're not even in it. B-roll where they're in it and there's like typing on the computer and there's like text over it. We need the humanity, the personality, and the perspective. Your perspective could be the text on the actual video. The person and personality is the video with you in it. So there's many ways to go for it. Because there was nobody talking about this back in the old days when I did it, but I was, well, you just got to do it and sweat through it. And I would black out. I have no idea what I said in like years ago videos, and they are cringe and awful. And I never watched my content back for 5 years. Don't recommend that. I would have gotten a lot better faster, but I was self-aware enough to know that if I looked at that, I would critique myself and never make another one. So you do have to be self-aware.
So, yeah, the magic word is but in an increasingly digital world, in an increasingly AI world, there is a necessity over time for us to express humanity. Like if we almost before, like those of us who are in the real estate industry, when you used to have to go office to office and get MLS books,
right?
Like it was like, hey, but you gotta use the internet. And now we're saying, but you've got to use, you got to get used to AI. But in that increasingly AI world, there's going to be that people are going to crave to see Angie Lauer on camera, and just like when they open their feed, just hearing her talk human to human is going to be something people crave. Am I right?
Yeah, I think the biggest leverage point we have with AI is being human. Like, let's be honest. Like, even just like writing a thank you note, that's so few and far between these days. Like sending somebody an unsolicited message of just checking in. That's why I always focus on that first, because content isn't the human part, right? It's a level of context that people can have about you, but the humanness never goes away. I don't care if it's you're at a BNI meeting 20 years ago and you're talking to people and giving them referrals and making connection and building rapport. The same brains that are doing that offline that need that to build trust are the same brains that are doing it online. And so that's like a whole discussion about how we're showing up offline versus online. But the point to what you were making is you don't have to go from 0 to 100.
Right.
There are ways to start to develop and share bits of your personality, of course, without sharing private, without crossing over that line, without becoming an annoying oversharer, as some people say. There's many ways to do that.
So I've got on my Toronto shirt because everybody knows I'm like the world's biggest Canada fan. I was with Amy, recently, and my thought and message was very simple. And guys, I just want to share my belief, which is the purpose of content is to create conversation. Like the reason we're doing any of this is so that we could eventually on the phone or ideally face to face have conversations with people about buying and selling real estate. And so it's like never getting those things twisted to where it's like I'm creating content that just magically is going to sell houses for me. That doesn't make sense. The purpose of creating our content is so that we could eventually talk to Susie homeowner about helping her sell her house, or Joe home buyer, or Bobby the real estate agent, or whatever it is. Am I right, Chelsea? I mean, all of this, the end goal in all of this is to create conversations with potential consumers.
Yes, and I believe that there's specific kind of content that does that. So a lot of this expertise content is, like I said, designed to be searchable, designed to be shareable, designed to build trust. But if you're expecting a whole lot of conversation and comments and engagement, especially from people who don't know you yet or who might have got referred to you, if you don't have the what I consider personal, the human stuff that has nothing to do with real estate, not private, you have to think of that as small talk. Big talk is expertise in sales content. So do we get to know strangers in the real world by jumping right to big talk? No. We would be like put off and be like, that's weird. Like, I'm not like, I just want to know, like, what's the weather like? Like, where are you at? Like, where do you work? And so this kind of content isn't necessarily for conversations. The conversations happen a lot in the personal content. And because you're having those conversations, then people are more likely to pay attention to your expertise content. And they may never really even comment on it. They may continue to comment on your dog, right? Or whatever you're reading, or the fact that you like golf or something like that. But what happens is it accelerates exponentially the ability to create digital trust online. So people are like, oh, I'm never going to do anything human. I'm not going to be in it. That's cool. You can still win. But your wins are probably going to be so much slower than the person who is doing that and putting their perspective, person, and personality in it, because our brains need to see people.
Yeah, and what I mean by that is like the big why. Why would I do it? Like why do I need to grab an article, or why is there fun in grabbing an article, doing a green screen, sharing my thoughts and feelings, hoping to get people engaged? It's not so that someone's going to read that article and like it's the long form of building a relationship of trust that eventually when the time comes in their life that they need to buy or sell a house, it's like, well, why would I go anywhere other than Jennifer Goodman? Like I see her everywhere and she seems like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like for me, it helps to go, I need to create content today, and it's not going to solve my financial issues tomorrow. But over time, if I'm a good content creator and build trust, I will be that person they think of when their life experience is causing them to buy or sell a house.
Yeah, there's two things that people look for subconsciously when they're scrolling through and scanning your profile. And this is from Vanessa Van Edwards. It wasn't about social media specifically, but I'm applying it here. Vanessa Van Edwards wrote Cues, which is an incredible book. And she says there's two things our brain always looks for: trust and competence. Can I trust you immediately? Are you competent? And if this happens like that, right? And so here's what you go. You scan the content. I'm not watching any of your videos, right? Like, Joe, you've got a ton of videos. I'm sure they're amazing. I'm just pretending, right? Because of course I'd watch your videos. But so I'm looking, one, are you in your content? Because my brain equates human with trust. Okay. So that's an easy one. If you're in your content, good. The competence part is, do I see you talking about what you do? and why you do it and explain it. Because if I go, wow, Joe's got 500 videos about real estate in this area, I'm not watching any of them, but wow, he probably knows what he's talking about. It's that fast. So the context of making content is part of establishing a foundation of trust. Now, does it immediately, like, people are like, oh, I'm ready to come in and like work with you? Not always, but that is the reason to make content, is certainly not just to be findable and organized by AI, but to open up that opportunity to accelerate trust in the digital world. So overall, yeah. Okay, let's finish this out. Thought leadership, my favorite one on here is answering unasked questions. And the reason it's my favorite is because a lot of people cover frequently asked questions. Of course, those are highly searchable. When I'm talking about building trust and having somebody say, you're my person, is when you answer something that I didn't even know I thought to ask. And there's two reasons why people don't ask questions. One, they don't know to ask them. So when you bring something up and I'm like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that, immediately they have this like level of, wow, you have expertise and authority and I trust you. The other part is when people have a question, and this happens like a lot in like in-person classes I do, where somebody always raises their hand and they say, I know this is a silly question, but people are afraid to ask questions and look silly, especially in a public comment thread, right? So that's something where when you can create something where somebody feels empowered and not shamed and like, oh my God, I'm so glad that you explained it this way. Like nobody's explained it that way. And that was really helpful. And they equate you as the answer to the solution. If you can articulate and talk about how they're feeling and their challenges so explicitly that they're like, yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling. How are you in my head? And then answer it, they immediately think you are able to help them. So unasked questions are really, really good. If you're like, I don't even know what an unasked question is, guess where you can go? Chat GPT. Yeah, tell them what you do and say, what are some of the unasked questions that may not be obvious? Again, this is the example that I give. People are like, how do I rank in AI search? Well, that's the question, but I'm going deeper, because what you're really asking is X, Y, and Z. So that's what I'm saying for that one, right? So again, you guys can go there. I just wanted to show you a couple of other ideas, busting myths, right? Because people think, oh, it's one thing, but it's another. Perspective shifting, and then we're back to where we started. So, all right, I think we're like right on time. Yeah, look at that. I left a few minutes.
It was great.
Questions.
Well, and I love what you said, Chelsea. You know who doesn't care if you look stupid or sound stupid? AI. And so
Yeah.
like if I want to share a good opinion, but I have nothing, I have no knowledge. Spending 5 minutes going like, explain to me Compass's takeover of that real estate companies like I'm 5 years old. It'll be like, okay, well, here's what happened. And it'll explain it. And then it's like, well, how would I explain that to other real estate agents? Oh, okay, cool. All right, I got it. And so it's like, if you're worried about sounding stupid to your peers, cool. You don't have to ask them. Go ask ChatGPT, go ask Grok, and you can sound like, explain to me like RESPA, like I'm 5. You know, it's like, okay, well, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act is blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so that's the benefit of ChatGPT and AI is that it doesn't care if you sound stupid.
Yes, and it can help you get started and not have to burn a lot of brain calories to figure it out, because we know in our heads how to explain things, but you're right, we take for granted that people that aren't doing what we do every day do know, and they really do need it explained, tell me I'm like a sixth grader, how does this work, right? And so I can't remember who said it, but there was somebody that was like, yeah, if you can explain it simply, it means you really are an expert at what you do.
So Mark asked if you could explain the 3 pillars again.
Yes. Okay. So I think you were asking about personal expertise in sales. Hopefully that was what you were. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So, I believe that every personal brand, which all of us are personal brands, right? There's a little bit of a different strategy for like a corporate brand, but a personal brand really holistically needs 3 buckets of content. One is personal, one is expertise, one is sales. Okay. Expertise is what we just went through. Like I literally would give you those same exact topics, right? And the important part here is, why do we need those 3? Because they do different things. And the problem is we are stuck in expertise because we all went to the same conference that said, if you want to show up and, create content and a brand online, y'all better be valuable. And we immediately equate value with education, which it is, but also humans equate value with untangible, unmeasurable things. Like I can't give you an ROI of my dog, right? My dog and I don't sit down and she teaches me something every single time. Like we don't do that with our family and friends when we like sit down over dinner. So we devalue anything that's not real estate related, one, because we think people don't care, and two, because we think it doesn't provide the same value. But if you're on social media and you want people to actually engage with you, comment, right? You need to give them something that's human, that's easy to talk about. You talking about the shift in what's going on out in the world in real estate right now, super important, but guess what? Very niche. You're asking people to pay attention. You're asking people to think. And when I talk about my dog or what I'm doing this weekend or asking people like, hey, I'm going to this vacation, does anybody have any recommendations? It's easy for me to think. I don't have to process something. I don't have to be an expert in that area. So personal content, not private. That's different. Personal content is anything you would share with some random person you just met and sitting next to you for 2 days at a conference. The weather, the books you're reading, your podcast you're listening to, whatever, right? So you decide what that is. Personal content is meant for engagement. That's why we get bummed out when we're making expertise content and spending so much time on it and it's really good and it doesn't get the kind of engagement and comments and reach that your cute dog gets every single time. This is also why if you have 2 Instagram accounts or if you're used to Facebook with the business page and the personal page, now you know why the business page never gets engagement. It's not built for that. Personal content is built for engagement and relatability. Expertise content is built for shares, search, and trust. And last but not least, sales. Just listed, just sold, testimonials, awards you've won, right? The stuff that you're like, yeah, but like nobody comments on it. It's not for that, right? It is for people to be like, this is social proof that you said what you did and all those videos that you keep talking about real estate in, you actually do the thing, right? And a prompt. Like we need to fall into people's feeds at the right time, right place for them so that they can be like, oh yeah, I need to reach out to Amy right now. So all of them work together, but a lot of us are stuck in expertise or sales. And what happens is we're like, I told you social media didn't work. I've been grinding at it for 3 years, posting every single week, and this is still not working. It's probably because you have an unbalance of that content, right? And or you're not in it, right? So you can win all day over time if you're like, I'm going to be the expertise person. I love expertise, you guys. I'm a teacher. That's the majority of my content. But I'm in it and I also do human content. But if I only show up and do expertise or only sales, it's going to take a lot longer for you than somebody who's actually doing human content as well. So that was a long explanation of personal expertise in sales. I call it PES framework. There's probably a post on my Instagram about it too, where I go into it. But that's the framework that I use for content. And today we were really focused on expertise because that's what's going to be found in search. Because I'm not searching for your birthday pics or your vacation photos. Like I'm searching for how do you do something. I'm not searching for your award. That's sales. So searchable stuff, that's going to be expertise.
This was so loaded.
It was so amazing.
Oh my gosh. Like I literally have like a page of notes and I'm like, okay, where am I time blocking watching our own record? It was so
sorry. I know that was a lot, but I was really trying to get it all in and like
oh, it was so good. I was also DMing a few people like, you need to jump on. This is so good. This is so good.
Yeah, the hard part
I do have a cheat sheet. Hold on. I actually have old school paper. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll send this to you, Amy.
Okay.
This is what I talked about. These are the 3 categories. This is the specific deep dive on what I did. So I'll give you old school and you can send it out.
We will share that next Monday. So that's always my hook, you guys. You got to come back next Monday, join us Monday, and we will share Chelsea's PDF with you.
Yes. And as a thank you to me, follow me on Instagram.
Yes,
that was great.
Absolutely. Guys, grab a screenshot too, or grab a screenshot of Chelsea's Instagram or your top takeaway, any of the things. Like, let's fill her bucket. It is so much work and energy to like show up and serve our industry and give generously of her time and her knowledge the way she just did today. So like, absolutely. Thank you so much for the comments, you guys, but like send her a DM, tag her on Instagram, follow Chelsea, send her a personal note like just she mentioned as well. Thank you so much. This was so good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Drop a 1 in the chat if you would love to have Chelsea back sometime. A 1 in the chat if you want to hear from Here comes the ones.
Who's putting a 2, right? No, I'm just kidding.
I'd love to see that.
That's so good. Thank you so much, Chelsea.
All right. Hope everybody has an amazing week. Thank you so much.
See you guys next week. Joe, do you want to touch on what's happening next week?
Yeah, so Raquel had to hop off. She's doing a team panel mastermind next week, which is twofold. One is to inspire other team leaders to what some of the biggest teams are doing. We've got Kenny and Elias, we've got Penny Trong, we've got Kellyanne, who's one of my favorite people in the world. So it's going to be how are teams maintaining and increasing profitability, as well as how can team members take advantage of the things that their team has to offer. So it's going to be huge. I mean, these guys are doing 600 plus transactions a year as teams. So you're not going to want to miss that for sure.
And doesn't matter what size, where you're at, it will be relevant. We will make sure.
100%. Yep, 100%.
Right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next Monday for Rocket Fuel. Have a great day.